glad to be with you. Yes. You just know it. You just know it. Kabuki theater. What is kabuki theater? Let's have a little look at a definition that everybody needs to know. It is traditional Japanese form of drama. It's Pride Month, remember? Woo, mince, mince, mince as you cross that road, which is painted in rainbow colors. Yes, it's that. Known for its stylized performances, elaborate costumes, and exaggerated acting. If you're not getting a little bit of kabuki theater right here, right now, in the great Drumpf, his real surname, and elongated muskiness, well. And whilst it's there for entertainment to keep you laughing, I'm afraid it is far more serious in terms of what's truly happening in what they don't want you watching. That's not just handing over the American database, and by the way, probably the world, to Palantir, who defers to Israel, of course. I'm not just referring to that. I'm talking about what happened in precious metals. That's right. Even the industrial version of precious metals with a greater content of industrialization, in fact, started to move, even though we are in a bad recession turning into a depression. So let's just understand that those precious metals, silver and platinum, for example, apart from our golden star, which is gold that you're looking at right now, those precious metals, which in an environment where the overall economic demand is low, imports and exports are down because the trade deficit was too large in America. Let's kill global trade. Perfect way to get a global contraction. So you got the globalization, which was an expansion. Everybody got better off. The relative advantage nations at growing fruit, at doing manufacturing, all got a lot bigger because they got a bigger market to sell. We're reversing that for a global contraction. And then we're adding costs on top of it, which will add inflation initially, but later stagnation and disinflation, which is part of that contraction. Less trade, smaller GDP, smaller economy, global contraction. So this is the Great Depression. And despite all of that, which is essentially disinflationary, what you're truly getting, it's called financial repression, by the way, more on that in a minute. You're actually getting industrially used metals now starting to run. That is silver that we covered yesterday. Platinum, that is actually the star, the biggest mover and the most undervalued in my opinion. And we do have facts and charts to back that up, by the way. In case you didn't see yesterday's video, go and have a look at that platinum chart over the last 20 years. So this is what's going down. So the theater has to have the volume turned up. Boy, oh boy, they'll intrigue the Epstein files. They'll soon start on 9/11 again, the release and all of this information and who's doing what. Wow, they're going to throw every one of the known lies into the mix to try keep you affixed with the big tiff. Everybody wants to watch a Barney. That's why you see on social media when there's people fighting, there's about 100x more people with cameras filming instead of breaking the fight up or actually just leaving the scene. And that's what's going down in the world right now whilst this goes down. That is your gold market, my friends. Since the 3-year, this is on a quarterly, actually, not a monthly, a quarterly basis. Wow, there's so much analysis on there. It's almost scary because it's so dense and rich. This is what gold has been doing. And what's happening now is that we are getting the fact that silver is starting to move too. Silver is starting to move too through 36. And more importantly, very suppressed platinum as well, I would almost say. So let's have a look at silver. New high, 36.16. Now, one cautionary on this, a slight cautionary. Your gold-silver ratio is breaking down. Remember, we just warned that the 90 level, roughly there, where you see the orange line, every time was resistance, but for two events. This one and your most recent one. So what was previously resistance can be a bit of support. So we can go run that 92 target that we called for on the gold silver, but that does still leave you with the possibility that you get a bounce after this. You may even make a new high. I'm not sure. It depends how bad the debt contagion is. Or you might just set up to later break down. That means you put in the high and do that. We don't know. We can't be sure. Just be warned about that 90, 92 range, which you're now in. So great news for silver. Silver moving, the patient, the monk patient silver investors, of which I am one, by the way, and a massive bull. This is what's going down. And what's happening today, guys? Do you know what's happening today? You're going to have fake number day. That's right. Remember, and there's a lot of analysts, I'm waiting for the data. Employment. Employment is lagging. By the time people are getting fired, they're lagging. It's a recession. It's a bad recession. It's turning into a recession. We've probably dipped in and out of recession at least twice. We met the criteria for a recession and they said, but employment's so strong. That was while Biden was hiring governments and contractors to governments with DEI folks and everything else and lying about the numbers. Don't forget, 814,000 yearly revision downwards. An 814,000 yearly revision downwards for 2024 during the Biden era. That was on top of individual months being revised down. I think there was probably about 8 or 9 of them out of 12 that were subsequently revised down. That's a lot of fake jobs that suddenly needed taking back out again. That's your birth, death novel. Every time somebody opens a company, it's assumed there's a secretary, there's a CEO, there's all sorts of things being done. Sometimes people open companies just as a special purpose vehicle and for no other reason at all. Okay, so gold-silver ratio, we'll be looking at that. The fake number comes out today, and that is why we will be having live trading day in not much more than an hour. You can come and enjoy what we are doing. An amazing FX trade right now with a primer HVF and a larger HVF. That's right. And a real story behind it. It involves the carry trade. Yes. Oh dear, the carry trade is becoming a problem. Must weaken the yen. Who controls Japan at a macro financial level, you might wonder. Check out what Professor Werner had to say about that post-World War II. But who do you trade it against? Oh dear, oh dear. There's all sorts of amazing things happening. You can see that FX trade in our opening hour and a half, where we'll be looking at the traditional markets, plus huge soft analysis, soft commodities. I'm not talking about my pippy. The erectile projectile that is platinum. Yes, we'll be talking about that as well. We will go into all the winning trades that actually you're going to have huge opportunities, guys. Kabuki theater is for all the people that watch TV. They're going to sit down there like little kids in front of the Punch and Judy show. You and I know better than that. The real money-making opportunities are happening right now on the short side, on the long side. That's right, real money. Build wealth. It's probably going to be our last freedom chance to build some wealth, to be a richer slave. And of course, to preserve it. To preserve it, we've got to worry about the great taking. We've got to worry about optionality across multiple nations. That's what we do for you at the Market Sniper. We'll be talking about some of that, but we're going to be looking at the charts, the HVF method and the chart. So, little warning on the gold-silver ratio. It may be a turn. It may be the final turn. It may bounce at 90, however, and it could still, if things got really disorderly and there's a storm into gold by the big money, you could still have a surge in gold again. Right now, gold kind of dull and limp, probably have a minor pullback, silver firm and strong. Okay, so that's what's going on there. Let's have a little look at, by the way, miners. Before we have a look at your thing, we showed you this order. It continues to go upside. It is a overperformance to the upside. What other miners are we looking at? And there's been some that have done exceptionally well, whilst we've also pointed out till now, First Majestic, been a little dull, hasn't it? But in the longer run, the man with the most ounces in the ground, the banker that focused on accumulating merger and acquisition and getting bigger, even with some maybe not such great investments like Jared Canyon at cost for now, actually gets made good later when it comes to how much silver do you have in the ground. This is going to turn into a commodity. That's what's happening behind the scenes, by the way. That's why Trump wanted Greenland. That's why Trump wants Canada. It's not really to protect from those Russians who want to attack us all. United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, what he's actually saying when he goes war footing is we need to be able to steal more money from you. Us, the arms dealers and the other hyenas, all want to gorge on the carcass and leave you literally turning blue as you suffocate on a reduced welfare, reduced tax breaks, reduced services by your local municipalities, all because there's no money. We must steal. That's what's happening. It is a great impoverishment of the masses, guys. It's a great impoverishment of the masses as well. So let's have a look at some of your comments. Privyet from Russia. Yes, long live the Ruskies. George Carlin, exactly the American dream indeed. In tatters. In tatters. Seen some memes of Elon can go to China and have more freedom. All of those, you know, the panda and the Duma in Russia, where he can be saved from having his assets confiscated. Agent Orange turning orange, says some people. That's Rolf Steiner. A sea of debt to be squeezed into an orange. Well, there is a sea of debt, and that, my friends, is worth looking at as well. So what's actually happened is we've had the debt come down a tiny bit. We've had the yields on the debt come down. What I mean is that from a almost record high, that's the previous high, by the way, almost record high on the top side. So what are we looking at? The 30-year government bond yields. By the way, don't forget, you can be getting our newsletter. You should have got it last night. If you haven't checked your spam folder, if you don't open it, you get switched off. We don't do spam. People that don't want to receive our stuff get eliminated if they subscribe. You've got to open it, otherwise it goes. Go in and check. If you want to receive it, register for our mini series below. By the way, mini series book here, our free trading course for you. One video every 3 or 4 days for about 5 or 6 videos. All give you a real heads up of where we're taking you in the community when we drill really hard down. By the way, also gold and silver links below. Yep, you can use that. Pure gold. I am using my SimpleFX to trade platinum long. Not many brokers offer platinum. Try IG Index. Won't allow you to have a long. That's a very bullish sign, by the way, on platinum. Let's pivot to platinum. Before I pivot to platinum, let me also remind you, that was down on the rates, but the dollar is still near lows. So the debt firmed a little bit on the long term. The story has been how it's at all-time highs. All the long end debt curves getting higher, steepening of the curve. That is when you hit the crash. This is the yield curve inversion stuff we were talking about 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. You went inverted. When you revert, the problem starts to come, and then you get the steepening. That means the long end rates are getting higher. Despite that, they're not giving you a real yield. So what is financial repression? Financial repression is when they continue to run rates that are lower than the true inflation rate, how much they're proliferating, how much they're overspending. That's your true inflation rate. Not what they tell you through the BLS, drop the L, that's BS. No. Inflation is how much proliferation, how much overspending your government is doing to its income. That is all inflation. Ask Milton Friedman, he'll tell you. So when you're facing the true inflation, financial repression is, even though the rates are staying stubbornly high, the actual inflation is a lot higher. They are devaluing both the currency. Remember, the milkshakers are all worried. What's supposed to be happening on the dollar? The dollar is getting weaker. The dollar is getting weaker, friends, even against garbage currencies, never mind against gold. The only thing you should be measuring it against is, of course, gold, but even against flawed euro and other currencies. We showed that chart yesterday, but I want to show it again. Let's just show you USD euro. People don't understand this is a change in trend. Oh, we must go back to TG Pink. It pops like nothing. The pink crogs of annotations is the TG Pink Koki. That is since 2008. The lows there, that is an end of trend. You broke the baseline, that was 91. You broke the upside funnel, both the entry and the stop, and you broke the bagel, which is the basing, ascending grind line, and it's been so long it's okay to call that a trend line. You broke the trend. What are we looking at? The dollar in euro terms, okay? It's inverted to the way you usually look at it. It's an inverse perverse world anyway, so we might as well all turn it down. This is how many dollars $1 buys you of euros. We've had a dollar strengthening period. The milkshakers have been telling you all about it. Everybody's been saying it. Well, it ain't anymore. It isn't anymore because they need to let that currency devalue to get that geyser that's ready to blow to release some of the pressure. Because the debt's taken a pounding. The debt, let's look at that as well. The debt, if we have a look at it, it is the TLT is the best example. This is an ETF of the debt. Let's wipe our face. There you go. That's your spiller, your absolute thriller all the way from Manila. That's your inverted HVF break short that we gave in September 2020. Boom, 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 bosh, rally bounce, triggering event on the right shoulder over head and shoulder, down, 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 down. It's amazing that all this had to happen and you only heard at the end of 2024 that Druckenmiller and Paul Tudor Jones is short. Listen, this thing went from a high of 180, we were shorting at 160s, right the way down through 100 and it traded to 80s. And the guys are telling you now, but there's so much more to come because they've got a record 7 trillion plus still to roll and they continue to overspend. The big, beautiful bill. Is it beautiful? Raise the debt ceiling by 5 trillion. 5 trillion. I wonder what they see is coming. Oh boy, and is there some final plunder and theft that they intend to do? That's what's happened with debt. They need the dollar now to take some of the downdraft. They need the dollar to take some of the downdraft. And who are the slave nations? The hegemon demands to be buried with his slaves. Who are those slave nations? Go and check. Recently, number 2 in the overall nation holding of foreign nations of treasuries. The United Kingdom just overtook China and, of course, Japan right on up there, owned and controlled at the macro financial level by the United States, the cartel that controls the United States. Remember, it's not the poor old Americans that are going to lose their living standards that are doing this. It is the international mercantilist predators, the parasites that will be shimmying on to the left and to the right after the decline of America. Okay, so what are you doing right now? You've got today, when the fake number comes in, it's going to get potentially volatile out there in the markets. Will it be a damn squid? We don't know. I suspect volatility. What they've got to come out and explain the state of the economy. That's what's going to happen. You're going to get a number. It's either going to lie like hell. By the way, you had a good JOLTS number and a bad ADP number. They're doing enough to muddy up the waters so that there's no overall exceptionally clear view. The truth of the matter is it's worse than it sounds. You're in a property-based collapse in the United States of America. You are having huge amounts of homes that have been listed for sale. You're having people accepting much, much lower prices. Why is that? Because it's a debt-based collapse. It starts with this chart right here, the TLT, because the banks do not want to originate any more debt. The probability of default is far higher. The probability of the borrower losing his job is far, far higher. The probability of the asset losing 50% is far, far higher. Do you want to lend if you're a bank in that environment? No, no, no. More collateral, bigger spread, much larger deposits. You want it all. Let me tell you, I know people doing developments in the States where all the buyers are zero down. Zero down. Did you hear that? Zero down. That's called no skin in the game. That's a rental agreement as far as I'm concerned. It's a 30-year rental agreement. Guess what happens? If you have zero down, you hand the keys back, no worries. You take the damage on your credit report. You give the overpriced asset right back to the bank. Who goes down? The banks. The collateral is not marked to market. The debt markets are not marked to market. Bank of America at 500 billion. They bought at 1%. What is that asset worth? That is supposed to be their pristine collateral. The pristine collateral that's paying 1% that you can now buy today and get 5% for. That means it's lost on a net asset value present basis by all simple mathematics over 80%. That's right, because you can buy the same income from the government today and get 5 times the return, or you can pay 1/5 of the price for the same income. Yep, it is Non-Farm Friday. Click the link below. Join us for trading day. We will be going over the key metrics and trades that will be coming. If you want to have a taste of what it's like to be in our community, come and join our friends. It doesn't cost you a great deal for the price of $197. You can join us for 3 hours. So what do you get? I think that was 3 fingers. We will do an hour and a half on the traditional markets. All the most interesting things, taking questions, looking at what we're doing, but telling you about the key trades and how we think you can exploit and make more. We'll take a short break and then we'll come back and we'll do crypto. Yes, what's happening in the crypto markets. Precious metals stealing all the limelight. Elongated muskiness stealing all the limelight. But USDC got listed today. Yesterday it was, on the stock market. And of course we had a spike in Tron usage. I wonder what's happening. Tron is being used to onboard USDT into the market that leads to a purchase of collateral that is treasuries. Isn't that interesting? And treasuries desperately need support because the Fed is busy buying their own debt at the moment to maintain prices. You see, if it was worth so much, why does the Fed need to buy their own product to keep it at that price? Because if they didn't, the people that wanted to sell would have nobody ready to buy. And that would lead to a collapse. That's what needs to happen. It's a debt-based collapse. If you haven't heard me say that 100 times, you haven't been listening hard enough. We will be seeing you in the next, less than an hour to start our review on traditional markets. They are great trades to be manifested that can build you real wealth in reset times, and that is our core raison d'etre. Thank you for popping on today. We will be taking you into so many things, including the platinum markets, which I think is probably going to be the biggest mover. Great seeing all your comments, by the way, and everywhere you go, we read those. We watch your feedback, and we want to bring you more of your. It seems you enjoyed the riding clips. I'll be providing maybe some different walkabouts and riding trips as well over the next month, coming from lands afar away. So we'll do more of that and we'll see exactly the direction the world is going. Till next time, thank you, and grab that trading opportunity with us today on fake number day called the non-farm payrolls number. We will see. Watch out for the volatility on today. Bye for now and see you later.